The neighborhood was already awake when the warning rang out. A police helicopter circled low above Osage Avenue in West Philadelphia, its loudspeaker blaring, "Attention, move. This is America. You have to abide by the laws of the United States." But the people living on the block, they weren't the ones the message was meant for. Inside 6221 Osage Avenue, members of the radical Back to Nature group known as MOVE had barricaded themselves inside a row house with their children, some armed, most terrified. Neighbors stood on porches, clutching robes and coffee cups, watching the growing line of armored vehicles and police take position down the street. It was May 13th, 1985. And by nightfall, one of America's most shocking modern tragedies would unfold on live television. MOVE had long been a source of conflict in Philadelphia. The group, founded in the early 1970s by a man calling himself John Africa, preached anti-government, anti-technology ideals, and rejected modern living. Members often clashed with police, refusing to leave their homes, refusing to cooperate with courts, even refusing to send their children to school. Their previous standoff in 1978 had ended in a firefight that left a police officer dead. MOVE's new home on Osage Avenue was supposed to be a fresh start, but instead, it became a bunker. Neighbors complained constantly, loud political rants broadcast through bullhorns at all hours, garbage piling up, children unsupervised, dogs roaming freely. But complaints turned into something else when MOVE fortified their house, cutting out holes in walls, building a rooftop bunker, stockpiling food, and allegedly acquiring weapons. By 1985, city officials, including Mayor Wilson Goode and Police Commissioner Gregor Sambor, decided the group had to be evicted. But they didn't plan a quiet removal. They planned a siege. At 5:35 a.m., officers began blasting the house with water cannons. It was meant to drive the group out. Instead, MOVE stayed locked inside. By 6 a.m., the shootout had started. Police fired thousands of rounds into the building. MOVE returned fire, though it's unclear how many shots they actually fired back. The scene became a war zone. By noon, tear gas had been pumped inside. Nothing worked. Then, at 5:27 p.m., a Pennsylvania State Police helicopter hovered low over the home. From the air, officers dropped a satchel charge made of C4 plastic explosive onto the roof. The explosion ignited a fire, and the fire was allowed to burn. Flames spread rapidly through the home. Inside were 13 people, 6 adults and 7 children. As neighbors screamed from the sidewalks and reporters filmed from rooftops, the blaze consumed the entire row of connected houses. Firefighters were told to stand down. Officials later claimed they wanted to prevent MOVE members from shooting at emergency crews. But whatever the reasoning, no help came. The inferno jumped from house to house. It wasn't just 6221 Osage Avenue anymore. The entire block was burning. By nightfall, 61 homes were destroyed, and inside the MOVE house, 11 people, 5 children among them, were dead. Only 2 survived, a 13-year-old boy named Birdie Africa and 1 adult. The remains of the children were later found fused together with melted debris. Their names were Tree, Netta, Delisha, Phil, and Tomasa. They were between 7 and 13 years old. The fire had burned so hot, some bodies were never fully identified. In the days that followed, the city's response was as jarring as the event itself. No officials were criminally charged. No one was held accountable. Mayor Goode called it a tragic accident. The city rebuilt the homes on Osage Avenue, but the new houses were cheaply constructed and quickly abandoned. The entire block became a ghost street, a symbol of institutional failure, political cowardice, and racial injustice. Years later, it would come out that the city medical examiner had kept the remains of at least 2 of the children, without notifying their families. For decades, Philadelphia had bombed its own citizens. It had burned its own children alive, and the world had watched it happen. Thank you for listening to Road to Ruins. Subscribe for more true stories where systems fail and people pay the price.